the rise of media, violence has become increasingly evident in society. The prominent advances in technology lead to more realistic, engaging, disturbing, and ultimately violent scenes. With the recent tragedy at Sandy Hook, the need to investigate this topic inadvertently presents itself. The average American child witnesses 16,000 murders by the age of 18. The average cartoon displays 20 acts of violence in 1 hour of runtime. In this special, we'll explore media violence because it is a common problem in today's society, and you will decide for yourself whether violence in the media is a terrible crime or just an acceptable misdoing. My name is Thomas Swagon, and this is the 24/7 News Report.
Audio Jungle.
Six explosive space modulator.
Whether violence in the media is good or not, it has always been there, or at least since the 20th century. According to the Pediatrics Journal, in a survey of all the animated feature films produced between 1937 and 1999, 100% contained some form of violence. That is correct. Not a single one was clean from violence. The journal also states that 68% of the parents of 10 to 17-year-olds do not use the television rating system at all. In fact, if a child asks for a video game, only 10% check if it is appropriate for their child's age group. In the words of Sasha Ammons, "It was not my proudest parenting moment. It was movie night, and my 7-year-old daughter Chloe was begging for Star Wars. She'd seen it before and seemed to take its gore-free violence in stride. The problem was my 3-year-old son, Julian, who, through the movie's massive licensing reach, was already familiar with a galaxy far, far away. He already knew who Chewbacca was. Would it really be so bad for him to see the actual movie? He started pew-pew-pewing the next day. Julian turned everything, Tinker toys, tennis rackets, you name it, into a pretend gun and started running around the house like a pint-sized Han Solo, taking down stormtroopers. How does televised violence result in aggressive behavior? The American Academy for Child and Adolescent Psychiatry demonstrated that very young children will imitate aggressive acts on TV and play with peers. Before age 4, children are unable to distinguish between fact and fantasy and may view violence as an ordinary occurrence. In general, violence on television and in movies often conveys a model of conflict resolution. It is efficient, frequent, and inconsequential. Heroes are violent and as such are rewarded for their behavior. In 2001, in Santee, California, a 15-year-old boy shot 2 teenagers and injured 13 others at his high school because he was tired of being taunted for being too skinny. In California, 16 students were detained for death threats. 2 17-year-old students were arrested on charges of conspiracy to commit murder, and authorities found a hit list on 16 students, and another 15-year-old student boasted that he could outdo the Columbine High School massacre. In Arizona, a 13-year-old girl left a bomb threat on an answering machine. An 8th grader was accused of threatening to bring a gun to school to shoot 6th graders, and another 13-year-old threatened to shoot classmates who teased him. In Florida, a 17-year-old carried a loaded semi-automatic handgun to school, and another 17-year-old carried a revolver with a sawed-off barrel to his former school. A 16-year-old pulled out a gun and ordered the students to leave class. In Georgia, a 6th grader was arrested for bringing a BB gun onto the school campus. In Pennsylvania, a 14-year-old girl fired a single shot, hitting another student in the cafeteria. So, in conclusion, is violence in the media an acceptable misdoing or a terrible crime which desensitizes children? The decision is yours to make.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.